So, in the ongoing adventures of YouTube and Google Hate Me Theater, apparently when your phone tells you that it's too hot, you should listen because if your phone gets too hot, it will stop streaming your stream right in the middle of it. So I've now removed my case, and I'm hoping that helps. I think it helped last time. I'm so sorry. This is another. I seem to not be able to get a stream to go smoothly. Oh, actually, that first one went smoothly. Should have just kept up doing whatever the heck I was doing then. I'm gonna try to get fancy last time. Failed. And now I am trying to do this in a hallway, and my phone was like, I'm getting too hot. I'm like, whatever, phone, you'll be fine. Apparently it was not fine. So 2 people have rejoined the stream. Thank you for your patience. Hopefully this will be worth it. I have lost the comments. So Hutch, you owe me a comment on what you're working on, because I didn't see your comment. And it was at Peter. I'm not sure if Peter's back yet. I'm going to hang out and hope that Peter comes back. Oh, can I check who's here? What if I tap people? No, I don't think I can check who's here. Oh, I can focus? Really? That's interesting. Yeah. So, Peter, if you get back... Oh, Peter, you're back. Okay, cool. So, Peter, what I was going to say is that I mentioned it a little bit earlier. When you see a deal on the internet for a Games Workshop kit for way cheaper than it has any right to be, you're not getting a deal. You're getting ChinaCast. This is, I bought there was this deal for like 2 Tyrannifex kits or Tervagon kits a while back, and this was a long time ago. And I was like, wow, that's such a good deal. Man, I really want to get those because I want to convert them. And I got them, and I'm like, this is not a plastic kit. This is a shitty recast. So you can see there's like crappy, I don't know, not sprue, like flashing here. And like almost every single one of these has snapped off, and I've had to pin them back in because it's shitty ChinaCast quality resin, and like the casting is very bad. Also, it stinks. When you cut into this stuff, it's finished on the surface, but if you cut in it, I don't think it's really finished all the way through. There's a horrendous stench that this thing lets out, and it's just really bad. So yeah, ChinaCast, it's a thing, and if you see something for cheaper than you think it should be on the internet, probably because it's a recast. So I learned that the hard way. I don't do that anymore. But that's why this doesn't look like a Games Workshop model. It's fun. Yeah, Peter, it's not great in the sense that if this was a plastic model, I could just do whatever I wanted to it and it would like hold up. But the reality is that because it's a recast, you can do it, but you have to like reinforce certain areas because they just cast with resin with the same shapes that they do with plastic, but resin is not as tough as plastic. So for example, you can't see it here, but like this bit in a plastic kit is very thin. Hire a tech priest to fix your potato internet. It wasn't my potato internet, Bits Mechanica, that killed the first stream. It was my potato phone that got too hot. I had it in the case, and it was warning me that it was too hot. I'm like, shut up, phone, you're fine. Because I'm charging, or I was charging it while I was doing this. So it's the phone. It's getting crap. Although the potato internet could be a deal too, because I'm not on my internet. I'm on someone else's internet. And it could be potatoey. However, I'm literally sitting in the hall staring at the router. So I'm hoping that I get the best Wi-Fi in this place with this particular position. But yeah, Peter, in response to your question, that's why this Tyranid... Actually, it's a good thing we answer that question on this stream, because the previous stream is kaput now. The reason this model doesn't look like a normal Tyranid is because it's shitty China recast. Consider going for recasts of some of the OOP Forge World kits just because the in real life models are unobtainable, but from what I've heard, no, thank you. Well, you can, like, especially listen to them happy background people living their lives. Yeah, talking about One Punch Man in the background there. You can do recasts, especially, like, I feel like in the case where you want an out of production Forge World model, yes, that's true. Thanks, Hutch. So Hutch has a point that not all recasters are crap. And also, sometimes recast is the only way to get a model that's completely out of production at Forge World. Like, hello, I do some Crude stuff, and Jacob's on here. He also does some Crude stuff. And if you want to get Crude stuff from Forge World, you're shit out of luck, my friend. There is no Crude stuff in Forge World. Only more friggin' Space Marines. So yeah, in that kind of situation where you want Crute, you have to go to a recaster because there are no other Crute casts. So in that case, I would say, I don't know. Hutch, do you have any comment on this? Maybe you've bought good recast stuff before. Is it like, do you look for higher price? Is that like an indication that if someone's charging a higher price for a recast, that maybe it's better quality? Because like the thing with these guys is I was like, oh, it's so cheap, what a deal. And I really should have seen the cheapness as a warning sign, but I didn't because I was young and stupid. So recasters, cool Space Marine bits on Forge World for Horse Heresy. Yeah, there you go, Jacob. There's some cool Space Marine bits for Horse Heresy, but they got rid of them. So welcome to recasting. So yeah, Peter, you don't have to be fully afraid of go by reputation. Okay, Hutch. So Hutch is saying if you want to get a recast, you should go by reputation. And I don't know how you would find out that reputation. Maybe talk to people you know, if there's anyone you know who have bought from this person before and know they're good. Oh, thank bits, Mechanica. Sword and Brush virtual this year. That's good to know. Actually, I wanted to try and do a sculpting tutorial at Sword and Brush, and I was like, how am I gonna make it work? How am I gonna have a live video while I'm sculpting? But welcome to COVID, and it taught me how to do this stuff. So maybe I should approach the guys at what's that place, Lords of War, who run Sword and Brush, and tell them I'm happy to do their virtual sculpting tutorial. I'll see. Richter Belmont, man. I thought you were only in Castlevania. Hi, welcome to the stream. So Peter, yeah, go by reputation on your recasters. Maybe you can message Hutch. I don't know how that works on YouTube, but maybe you guys can get in touch and Hutch can point you in the right directions, or speak to your friends who have maybe bought this stuff before, and they can tell you what the deal is, and they might be able to direct you at someone reputable as recasters can be. Like, I don't know, buying recasts of existing models, a little sketchy. Buying recasts of out of production models, I have no problem with that. I know my brother found a recaster who does a lot of like old out of production Games Workshop stuff, and apparently he does like a really good job of it. So like old pewter models, like old Chaos models that they're not making anymore, that kind of stuff. So it can be successful. You don't have to worry about... Not all recasters are bad. Just... I think the lesson that I learned is if the deal seems like too good of a deal, it probably is. So I don't know. I think the happy shiny background people are giving me my privacy now. So too bad. No more happy shiny tittering. Mostly my wife and her friend. The little tiny child has gone to bed, so she will not be coming over here being like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I want to touch it. Not just applicable to recast miniatures. What do you mean, Hutch? Not just applicable to recasts. Oh, that if the deal's too good, you don't go for it? If it's too cheap, you're probably getting a cheap product? Is that what we're saying? Okay. Bar background noises on music videos. Yeah, actually, Jacob, it wasn't my wife or her friend. I don't have a wife or a friend. I'm just buying bar background tracks to make my sculpting videos sound more funky. Okay, that probably looks okay. Trying to make a light box to take pro pics. Just my Sword and Brush. Oh, I'm from Brazil. I'm learning to handle green stuff. Oh, wicked. I'm glad you're here, Richter. This is the place to be. So what I'm working with right now, it looks like Greenstuff. You may have missed this because I started the stream and then lost the stream and had to start it again. So this is a mix of Greenstuff and another material called Apoxie Sculpt. I'm not sure how available Apoxie Sculpt is in South America. I know that in the United States and in Canada, where I'm based, you can get Apoxie Sculpt pretty easily. Yeah, so the reason that I mix my green stuff with Apoxie Sculpt is that it makes the putty softer. And green stuff is usually pretty soft, but it's also kind of rubbery. But when you combine the green stuff with the Apoxie Sculpt, it gets this kind of nice texture to it, but it still maintains the stretchiness of green stuff. So that's why I go to this material. Hey, Earthman Brick, you're back, man. Just finished painting some sculpts, 2x Stalker Zone Alpha. Going to make a vid on it in a few days. Cool. Ooh, scratch bashing. Howdy. Welcome. But yeah, Richter Belmont. I highly recommend Apoxie Sculpt if you're just getting started with Greenstuff. It's not as sticky as Greenstuff, and the good thing about Apoxie Sculpt is it's much cheaper than Greenstuff. So if you want to sculpt anything big, it can get expensive with Greenstuff, but with Apoxie Sculpt, you can mix it with Greenstuff, which I've done here, 1-to-1, and or you can even put more Apoxie Sculpt in than Greenstuff, so that you save your Greenstuff. And by mixing them, you don't lose too many properties of the Greenstuff, and you take on some really nice properties from the Apoxie Sculpt, and then your Greenstuff goes a little farther because you're mixing it. Oh my god, there's a whole bunch of comments coming through. Scratch bashing, love your videos, man, from Hutch. Hopefully you guys can see each other's comments. I think you can. Does Apoxie Sculpt Greenstuff mix also dry harder for things like sanding and filing from scratch bashing? Yes. Scratch bashing, the mix of Greenstuff and Apoxie Sculpt does dry harder, which is good for sanding and filing. I don't know if I have any set on here. Maybe I should grab the DOM and show you. But yeah, it will dry harder. But if you want to dry the hardest, you should go to Aves and you should get a different material called Aves Epoxy Clay. That's what this stuff is. And this stuff is super hard. Like I was cutting it earlier up here, and I don't know if you can really see that. Let's see. Come on, you can do this. You can cut it and like kind of like gouge it, and it's beautiful material, really hard. So if you want really hard, go for Epoxy Clay. If you want slightly less hard, there's Epoxy Fix It. And then the Greenstuff in Epoxy is a lot harder than Greenstuff. It takes out the Greenstuff's kind of more rubbery texture and makes it more sandable and fileable, because if you've ever tried to sand or file Greenstuff, it's not a good scene. It's just kind of a mess. It tears more readily than it does get filed, whatever the word I'm looking for is. But yes, mixing the two does make it make it harder, because Epoxy Sculpt is a harder material in the end, like the way it sets, than the way Greenstuff sets. It's less rubbery. That's why I combine the two, because when you combine the two, you get that rubberized kind of texture while sculpting, but you don't get it as much when set. Like you get a bit of it, but it's not as bad or as strong, I guess. Yeah, so in that way, best of both worlds. Just trying to clear up this bit because I want to put armor plates in here, and I don't want too much of this extra green stuff on it, but that means that I need to reduce the amount here, fix my little window into the vascular part. I can't remember, I think we talked about this on the other video that I've now lost, but these vascular structures inside Tyranid guns and Tyranid limbs and stuff like that, we refer to them as like gills. I'm really sorry about the autofocus. Once I'm back in my cave, I'll do better. The easiest way to sculpt these, you see here they've got like the vents. It's kind of like a diamond-shaped window into the model. And the way you might think to sculpt that is you're like, oh, I'm just going to sculpt this whole thing at once and like cut this out and then, god damn it, phone, and then line it in. You can do it that way, but the way I prefer to do it is I prefer to sculpt the substructure like I've done here, and then sculpt in the ribbing, gilling, whatever you want to call it, and then go over it like I'm doing now with Greenstuff to define the window around that gill structure. And it just gives you more control around the window, and it means that if you're trying to sculpt all this together and you're trying to put these lines in, you will screw up this part. And then you'll try and fix this part, and then you'll screw up this part. So do it in separate steps. Do this first, and then put the window around it, and it'll treat you nicer. I'm really sorry about the autofocus issues. Anyone who's on the last stream knows that I bought a fancy camera to fix these issues, but I still need to figure out how to use OBS. Also, I'm not at home right now, so I don't have that computer and that camera. I only have my phone. So we're back to the same budget technology that you're used to if you've been on the stream before. But hopefully the autofocus issues are not too bad. Every time I look up, it looks like it's out of focus, so I don't know. Hopefully you're seeing enough. Because there's not much I can do about it other than continuing to shove my hand into the shot. Because I am happy that my phone is working at all. This is why you don't file stuff on your sculpting space. It will wind up in your green stuff. I was doing that earlier. That was stupid. Oh wait, I'm gonna check. I think I missed a question or something. Just give me the comments. Okay, there we go. Really fine work. Thanks. Just I realized yesterday Halloween this year's on a Saturday. Jacob, why is Halloween on a Saturday depress you, man? I don't understand that. Pink scratch bashing lovely videos. You know, it reminds me of the time I tried to sculpt a Tyranid artillery beast almost entirely from scratch. A bit out of my abilities, alas, especially as I was using the devil stuff that is milliput. Peter Hampson, milliput is tough. It is super tough. It's good, but the thing is, standard milliput I feel like dries too quickly. It's annoying. Milliput super fine white is very good material, but it's messy to mix, and I feel like milliput super fine white is almost too good. Like with green stuff, you can kind of fudge something. You can like screw it up, and you can be like, "Oh crap, I gotta go in. I gotta fix that." And you can like rub it out with your silicone brush, or you can get like your spoon tool, and you can be like, "Oh man, I totally screwed this up. I gotta fix it." You know? Oh, I got a little. Or like if you go to green stuff and you like touch it with your tool like that, it doesn't leave a line because it's kind of like flexible and stuff and it's not that responsive. I swear to God, if this was milliput super white and you just like brushed it like that, there would be this like deep line right there. Like milliput super white is very good at taking detail, but call me an amateur, it's better at taking detail than I want because I will do like a random awkward sculpt stroke and then I'll leave like a line in it, then I have to go fix it, and then I'll put a different line in it. So maybe I'm not refined enough for milliput super fine white. It's good material, but if I was to sculpt a big Tyranid Gunbeast, like you said you were doing, Peter, I would do it with Apoxie Sculpt because it's cheap and plentiful. And yeah, doing big stuff, like I would build an armature with plasticard like I've done here, or with tin foil or with wire. Oh shit, turn off my light. 2, 3, 4, oh, 4. There we go. And then I would build it with this, and then I would cover it with Apoxie Sculpt to make it hard, and then I would do the fine detail with Greenstuff or milliput. But yeah, the substructure I would absolutely do with Epoxy. Much more forgiving, much more cheap when you're sculpting something big and you need to use a lot of material. But as much as possible, you want to build up a lot of that creature using armatures, because I should show you. I talked about this in my other video. I sculpted this arm on one of the other streams, and it was really rounded and kind of like crap like this before when I was sculpting it, or it was rounded and crap like this, and that's not very well defined. And then the way I got these like sharp angles in is that I used an armature, because building that out of putty is tough because the putty's going to sag. But if you want a really sharp line, you can build it with putty and you can cut it back. Don't recommend it. What I recommend is building it with plasticard and then filling it, covering it with putty to make it stronger. Like same thing here, plasticard armature, plasticard armature. This is a plasticard armature. Here you can see my plasticard armature that I use for the armor plate. This is milliput superfine white with green stuff. One good thing, Peter, if you still have milliput, I don't know if you're using superfine white or using the yellow stuff. Yellow stuff, use it to make terrain or throw it out. If you have the superfine white, combine it with green stuff, and it's very strong. It comes out very hard. Scratch and bash, if you're looking for something to file, this stuff is good for that too. Milliput superfine white and green stuff. You can't really see it, but that's what I used under here. And like, it's super hard. That's what I used in there. Like the substructure of limbs was done in it. Oh, that's what the substructure of this limb was. Superfine white and green stuff. Because Bits of Box recommended that I use it over the armatures to make it stronger. And then I'm using the epoxy clay because it's strong as well. Get that out there. Okay, are there other comments I missed? I think so, yes. So we talked about milliput being horrible. Milliput yellow, throw it out in the garbage, use it for terrain. Also, Between the Bolter and me will tell you that milliput yellow is good for armor, like it's good for flat surfaces and hard lines. I just didn't like it because it dried really fast. Superfine white is more usable. Did you figure out if it fix it and green stuff mix cured? Jacob, I've not experimented with epoxy fix it and green stuff yet. Sorry about that. Oh wait, I have it here. I should just do it now. Screw it. Let's get to that now. Where's my pen? So we've got Fix It. I'm getting distracted. My putty's going to cure it and I'm going to be pissed. And we've got Greenstuff. Oh, what the hell? Is this not plugged in? I've got these like battery powered lights. And what the hell? Are you guys not plugged in? Oh, well, that's great. Oh, look, now I have real light. What's the deal? Okay. Like I told you, budget situation. Please be patient. Okay, so Jacob, I will do that before we finish today. I'll do this because this will take a while to cure. So probably best to not do it right now. And I have putty here, so I'm going to finish this. But I will put it together. It's right there so I remember, and I'll do some tests and I'll let you know. Because like we're on the crew chat or whatever. So I can definitely let you know. Are you familiar with Luca Zampriolo? He's a mecha guy, but he uses some kind of Aves products, which he ends up chiseling and filing. Is that, what's his real name? Or what's his handle? Scratch bashing. Because I follow Calamity on Instagram. I don't know what a Calamity's real name is, but I know that oh my god, there's so many comments. Guys, I'm failing. I'm sorry. Calamity... he uses Apoxie Sculpt, I know that, and I think he might use Epoxy Clay and Epoxy Fix It as well, because he's like basically sponsored by Aves, and they send him a lot of stuff. So if that's who Luca is, maybe, I don't know. I just know someone named Calamity who uses a lot of Aves stuff, and like this stuff, Aves Clay, you can pretty much chisel it. So you can get the small, sorry, it's called Epoxy Clay. You can get the small sample sizes like this. And it's really hard, so it's good. This is like maximum hard. This is like medium hard. Fix It. And then like this stuff, Epoxy Sculpt is the minimum hard, but like much harder than Greenstuff for anyone who's only ever used Greenstuff. Okay. Earthman Brick, I'm really cheap. I use tinfoil to bulk out my models. Good work, Earthman Brick. That's what I do. Use your tinfoil, then sculpt putty on top. Tried making a golem on Sunday with only tinfoil and textured paint. The textured paint just flaked off, going to redo. Yeah, the problem with tinfoil Earthman Brick is that you still need like some substructure, be it pieces of wood, be it pieces of plastic card, like plastic card rod. Best would be brass rod. And do like a kind of like stickman figure with that. And then you can put the tinfoil around that, and then you can sculpt on top of that. If anyone's seen the Nyarlathotep, that Cthulhu creature that I made with all the tentacles, that's how I did him. I did the wire armature, and it wasn't even strong wire. It was like floral wire because I could bend it very easily, and then I bulked it up with the tinfoil. But I find with tinfoil, it has a possibility that it's going to like snap because it's just tinfoil, right? Like it can bend. You put putty on it, it gets pretty strong, but if there's any force, you could snap that. What are you creepy bastards doing over there? Quit it! Jesus Christ. Okay, so it's not a laugh track. So you can snap the tinfoil. So what you want to do is you want to put a wire through it, and it makes it harder to snap. Like all the things work together to give it better structure. So definitely use like a wire inside your tinfoil, and then you can put putty on it. But putty on tinfoil makes a very strong material. I admire your gumption, Earthman. Yeah, me too. Cheers, Hutch. Hey, Adam. Good to see you. Hey, Namoisa Chico? Namoisa Chico. Dare. Looks great. Jacob, it's depressing because it's finally on a day I wouldn't have to work. Oh, you guys are talking about work. Scratch bashing. No, this is not a Dollarama LED light. This one on the left is like a daylight one, but it feels Dollarama quality. It's like really tippy. There's no ballast in the base to like make it heavy. And this one is some other one that I got that I don't really like it. It doesn't get bright enough. This daylight one is very good in terms of brightness as long as it's plugged in, but you can see that if I unplug it, it like significantly drops. Then it's on battery, but anyway, when it's plugged in, it's good. This other one looks nice, and it's got like a wavy head thing, but you can fade this one, which is fancy, but it always gives me shit light. It's like my backup light. It's the one I'm going to give to my wife to take to work because I really don't like it. But you can like, I don't know if you can see this, but you can make it brighter, but it's not very good. But yeah, this daylight one's pretty good. I have to go to Dollarama right now to buy Halloween toys. Good. Maybe I was just using it wrong, but I found it either didn't cure, probably badly mixed, being all white made it hard to see. Oh, so Peter, you find that milliput super fine didn't cure. That's weird. I've never had that problem. It might have been badly mixed. If you had the yellow gray, it is very crumbly. That's not weird. But if you had the white and it was very crumbly, it should be a little crumbly, but not super crumbly. It gets pretty smooth. Oh shit, Sonomi's in here. Hi, I'm new, coming from a life casting and sculpting background, but new to the miniature field. Cool, welcome AI Cybot. Hit us up with any questions. I swear I'm going to start sculpting again soon and stop trying to catch up on questions. Nice looking beastie, by the way. I've screen. Yeah, Peter, if you're mixing green stuff with milliput white, it's just good for like if you want strong substructure, or if you want something that like to really take really fine detail, it's very good for that. That's him. Great epoxy materials. You need an assistant to read the messages. Okay, I saw that Bits Mechanica. I need an assistant to read my messages. Actually, my assistants are in the other room trolling me by commenting on this. So maybe I should get them to read my messages. Hey, you guys want to come read me messages so I can sculpt? You want to come be my assistant? No, I don't actually. I just figured you're like commenting in the comments anyway, so you know you could just read me messages while I'm sculpting. I don't actually, it's okay.
My face can't be in there.
I don't actually, it's okay. I was just kidding.
How can you ask if they're not?
What, you want to help? I thought you guys were chatting.
Yeah.
Someone was just joking that I needed an assistant to help read the messages to me so I can sculpt, but we've already... There's not any messages coming through right now.
We were sending some.
Are you in there? Are you that Nomo Icha Itza
No.
whatever show? I saw Sonomi, but... Careful, her face is on there now.
I can't use people's names.
It says Sonomi in the chat! Good lord. Amateurs, I tell you. These kids don't know how to have internet personalities. They don't know how to be safe. Okay, let's get this going. Let's get some sculpting going on. Whoa, what? It doesn't. If it hardens, you can blast it for 20 seconds in the microwave and make it like new. You can microwave milliput? I don't know if I'd want to do that in a microwave that I'm going to put my food in after. But that brings it back to life? That's really interesting. Hi, Gecko13 from... Oh, Gecko! Hey, buddy! Aren't you like in... Kyle, aren't you in like the UK? Isn't this super late for you? I have no idea how to get real name off my YouTube channel. Sorry, Jacob. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. You got to make a fake YouTube channel like I did 1,000 years ago. Actually, I have a problem because I started this YouTube channel as a joke when I was making like fake videos, because we were doing this stupid joke between like me and Moloch and Hydra, where Hydra got a friend of his to pretend to be him in a video. So I pretended to be Moloch, and I didn't have a YouTube channel for my bullshit Moloch videos, so I made a YouTube channel, and the name of the YouTube channel was I Am Moloch. And it is still, sometimes when I try and link people to this YouTube channel, it doesn't come up as Modern Synthesis. It comes up as I Am Moloch. All capital letters. It's so stupid. Kyle, you're painting Chaos Space Marine? Wait, CMS. What's CMS? Is that Chaos Marines? Ain't gonna paint themselves. So you're staying up super late. Wow, okay. Oh wait, what day is it? It's Thursday. Tomorrow's a school day. Work day. Friday. Well, that's not so bad. Being tired on a Friday. Weekend's right there. But yeah, thanks to all of you to joining the stream. I feel like this is like more people than we get on the Wednesday stream. So apparently Thursday night date night. Everyone's got a Hobbit date with some putty. Some Modern Synthesists. Kyle, what flavor of Chaos Marines are you painting? Hopefully a good one. Hopefully not something lame like Thousand Suns. Something cool like, you know, Alpha Legion. Some edgy like Night Lords. Oh, actually, you know what? Iron Warriors, they're the most boring. Space Marines. Let's put some black and yellow stripes on them and call it a day. Okay, so like I said before, I'm just kind of defining a window around this vascular gilly material that I put it sculpted in underneath before. Someone had asked me to make a video on this, on how to sculpt Tyranid guns, and I'd started making it with the big gun that I'm putting on the Dom. I started doing it with this one. And I was like, yeah, okay, this is how you sculpt Tyranid things. I'm going to put in the thing. Well, I wasn't actually talking. I was just sculpting. And I did both of these. And I was like, yeah, okay, you know. But I was, for the whole video, I wasn't really paying attention. And I was like doing some commentary, whatever. But I was watching Sex Education in the background. And apparently it picked up the audio. So when I tried to upload the video to YouTube, they're like, you're trying to rip off Sex Education. What the hell are you doing? And I'm like, oh my God. And I was just kind of so pissed off. And I'm like, screw this. And it was pissing me off because I felt like every time I wanted to sculpt on that gun, I needed to make a video and set up all my video equipment. So I gave up. But now here, you're learning how to sculpt Tyranid weapons. Get a plasticard tube, sculpt some ghillie structures on it. You can sculpt like some general shapes with Apoxie Sculpt, and then close in the ghillie structures with some vents. There you go. You got a Tyranid gun. Super bon. Super easy. When you're doing the vents, you want to have this kind of like oblong diamond shape. I feel like this one's not amazing. And you can kind of define that diamond shape with how you sculpt your vent structures. And then better define it when you put the extra tissue around it. Which is what I'm doing now. Oh, wait. They're Homebrew Legion, all browns and corroded metal. Basically 40k crust punk. I don't know what a crust punk is, but it sounds dirty. Sounds like not the kind of punk show I want to go to. Yeah, we're having a crust punk show. You'd not imagine the stuff that we got into the socks in this place. Alright. This putty is starting to go, so I really need to get it done. I was dicking around with comments for way too long. It's starting to get a little hard. Also, this is putty that I mixed up the other day. I did my standard trick of mixing, when I sculpted these, I mixed up more putty than I needed, and I put it in the freezer. And I think that is that yesterday? What's today? Thursday? I don't think it was Tuesday. Yeah, I think I did it on Wednesday. So I've got more of this putty in the freezer, but I popped it out today, and it was pretty much like new. I put it in the freezer as soon as I mixed it up, which is pretty key. You don't want to wait too long, because putting it in the freezer doesn't stop the putty, it just slows it down. So depending on how far you've gotten with your, how long the putty has been mixed, it could die faster. If you like mix up your putty and you're like using it for an hour and you're like, oh crap, I have too much putty, I'm not going to get through it, and you put it in the freezer, not really worth it, because you've already lost a lot of the curing time of that putty. See, this is something okay, so Earthman Brick, I'm glad you asked that question. Does keeping the mixed putty in water keep it fresher longer? I used to do that. Before I learned to put it in the freezer, I would mix my putty and I would chuck it in my water bowl. And I thought it made it last slightly longer. I don't know if I was like hallucinating, because it is a... Okay, one day I'm going to learn whether it's an exothermic reaction or an endothermic reaction. It's affected by heat. Heat will make it go faster, so I guess that means okay, exothermic means it gives off heat, right? Endothermic means it like takes in heat or something. So if adding heat to this, who's the science nerd on this call? Yeah. If adding heat to it makes it go faster, is that endothermic or exothermic? I think that's endothermic. I think it's taking in heat and going faster. So yeah, I know that heat affects putty, but I don't know if oxygen does. Like, I don't know if it needs oxygen to cure. I don't think it does, because I think that, because plumbers use epoxy putty, right? Like, that was the original epoxy putty, plumber putty. Oh, yeah, okay, Adam, I should have known. Okay, yeah, exo releases heat and endo absorbs heat, right, Adam? Endothermic? It doesn't release cold. It definitely doesn't do that. That would be like cryothermic or something. So Adam, what about endothermic? What does it do? Tell me more. For anyone who doesn't know, between the bolter and me, not just nerds when it comes to weapon sizes, also nerds when it comes to real life. Back when COVID was getting started, these guys sent me a website that like told me everything I could ever know about how many COVID cases there were everywhere because they're legit scientists, like in labs and stuff. So yeah, they're super nerds. Super nerds! Okay, so it's an endothermic reaction, maybe, says Adam Weir. So if it's an endothermic reaction, if you keep it cold, it doesn't happen as quickly. It slows it down, which is why we take our putty and we put it in the freezer to make it last. But I don't know about the oxygen factor. I'm here for this nerdy. I can never remember the exo-endo thing. My thing, Kyle, stalactites and stalagmites. Which one goes up? Which one goes down? Makes sense. Epoxy resin produces a lot of heat, but epoxy putty is barely noticeable. Yes. Plumber's putty also produces a lot of heat. If it was back in the day and you... What happened?
Okay, that's on him though.
Oh, whoops. Okay, they're having a different conversation. I think our food... I thought our food broke. So back in the day, I used to not know about epoxy putty.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Apoxie Sculpt. And then I didn't have enough Greenstuff because I was trying to sculpt big things, like my old one-eye Carnifex that I did back in the day. And in order to get cheap epoxy putty, I bought plumber's putty, which, you know, two-part putty. It stalactites are on top. Okay, good work, Blitz Mechanica. I remember stalactites and stalagmites because when you look at it, it goes like this from the bottom. So it has these two peaks. But stalactites, it's like a T, and it has the part that shoots down, and then it's got flat on the top. So this is like the roof of the cave, and the bottom of the T is coming down. So stalactites come down from the top. Stalagmites come up from the bottom. Fuck. So these streams don't have any of the comments in them. So when someone's watching this not live, they're just like, what are you even talking about? Why are you talking about stalactites and stalagmites? Why are you jumping around talking about plumber's putty? What I was going to say, I think it was at Earthman Brick. I can't remember who it was. Someone said that epoxy resin gets really hot. Yeah, you got to be careful if you're using like non-Greenstuff epoxy putty and non-Apoxie Sculpt epoxy putty, because epoxy gets really hot when it cures. And if you're ever using plumber's putty, don't think that that's a good alternative, a good cheap alternative to Greenstuff, because you can legit... I'm not going to say you can burn yourself on it, but you can be worried that you're going to burn yourself on it. Because when I was mixing that stuff together, I was using my hands, and it got so hot that I was literally like, am I going to burn myself on this? But it is horrible stuff. Like, has such a thick grain that you wouldn't be able to do this with it. It would just crumble if you tried to cut this in. Like, you could bulk out this shape, but just don't do it. Just go and buy Apoxie Sculpt. It's so much cheaper and so much better for having a relatively affordable putty that you can build large structures out of. And it cures in the same amount of time as Greenstuff. So the other bad thing about plumber's putty is it cures really fucking fast. And it stinks. It definitely stinks, Earthman Brick. Yes. Plumber's putty stinks. It cures in about 20 minutes. So if you're impatient, I mean, yeah, there's those kind of sculptors that just want to get everything done right away. I mean, you could take your epoxy and put it under heat, and then it would get done faster. Or you could use plumber's putty because it gets done up really quick. You just want to get like a layer in. But yeah, it stinks and it's hot. Not in a sexy way, just in a burning way. So I do not recommend plumber's putty. We have better tools, like epoxy. A-P-O-X-I-E, epoxy putty. Apoxie Sculpt. We have that, so we don't need plumber's putty. Get in there, sausage. Get on now, little sausage. It is not also caustic. So, Earthman Brick, let's not talk about whether plumber's putty is caustic or not. I don't know if it's caustic, but it didn't feel good. So it may have been caustic. Maybe I should have been wearing gloves. Technically, anytime you're using epoxy putty, you should be wearing gloves. If you buy your epoxy putty in California, it comes with a big label on it that says warning cancer. So I just tried to not touch it that much. I have used gloves. I recommend you use gloves. I don't always love using gloves because you got to keep the gloves wet and it will stick to the gloves and that can get annoying. But yeah, epoxy is a chemical and you probably shouldn't be jamming it into your pores. So yeah, you should use gloves. And I sometimes do. But you should always use gloves. Or just use tools all the time. But yeah, the gloves are mostly when you're mixing it up, because that's when you're mostly like, most people need it with their hands. Okay, that's... Oh, am I shoving my finger in the other side? Don't do this. Don't sculpt both sides of a model at the same time, because you will fuck it up. I don't think I've fucked it up yet, but that means that I'm destined to fuck it up soon. But I'm just trying to make some progress. Okay, well fortunately I can more hold the model like this. Okay, whatever. Almost done. I'm gonna do that. I wish you told me before I drank it. Don't drink it. Use gloves, and it's super annoying. Yes. One thing I found, Hutch, if you're using gloves, I don't use latex gloves because I don't like throwing them out. I'm a hippie like that. I got some like basically dish gloves from this. There's this company that makes like, I don't know, like ethically sourced aluminum foil and shit, and ethically sourced dish gloves. So I use dish gloves for my when I'm mixing it up. Yeah, and they work pretty well. I feel like the dish gloves also are more hardy, like they're a more hardy kind of rubber. So they hold up better to like the weird stickiness of Apoxie Sculpt. I feel like I've tried to use latex gloves with epoxy putties before, and I feel like they can get kind of teary. Like it doesn't all the gloves don't always hold up well to the how sticky the putty is. So yeah, latex dish gloves, rubber dish gloves, they work pretty well. That's what I use. Like the ones that are like they're like a green plastic and they have like the ribbed surface on the inside for like grip. Also, the ribbed surface on the inside of my gloves is very good for like stamping certain textures. But yeah, use dish gloves. Reusable glove that will keep you safe. Okay. I don't love what's going on here. I want some like connective tissue to go in here, but I'm worried it might just cover up all the detail. Maybe I'll just try it. Because I feel like this, how it goes like that and like that, it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
Good tip, I'll give it a go. I'm mad allergic to it. Gloves always. Oh, you're allergic. That's crazy, Kyle. You're allergic to Greenstuff. Dexter's mom's gloves from Dexter's Lab. I know Dexter, the serial killer TV show. I don't know Dexter's Lab, but sure, Dexter's mom gloves. Sounds great.
What do you think of the third one so far?
Okay, they're talking about RuPaul's Drag Race. Got any RuPaul lovers in the house? I'm all about Bendela Creme. She's my jam.
Yeah.
And a little bit Bianca Del Rio, because she's saucy.
Yeah.
And of course, a little Courtney Act, because she's super fishy. I was like, God damn, that's a woman. I cannot believe that. There's a video of Spiky. I don't want to talk about Spiky Bits. Don't put Spiky Bits on my channel, please. He's an idiot.
I remember every single drag queen. It's just because everyone is so like memorable. Even the one.
Oh, Jacob, you're in a RuPaul. That's good. Glad to hear it. Drag Race is hilarious. I've learned so much from that show. And it was all because my wife, when she was my girlfriend, was like, hey, for your birthday, I bought you tickets to a drag show. I'm like, okay. And she's like, now you have to watch all of like season 4 or 5 of RuPaul to understand who Bianca Del Rio is. I'm like, oh shit. So I got into it and it was pretty good. You know, we're artists, they're artists. I could definitely appreciate that. The kind of stuff that they throw together. Holy cow.
I think I've always been interested in like queer, like gay culture.
Yo, I can probably hear everything you're saying, eh? Like it's going on the internet, just so you know. Don't hang out in the kitchen while someone's streaming in the hallway. I'd love to see you tackle the old trading card Tyranid monster, the Nautiloid, a spiral nautilus ammonite shell with Tyranid carapace pattern. It would look awesome. So Peter, I've seen pictures of the Nautiloid. The kind of Tyranids that don't really move me are Tyranids that are like very human shapes with just like some tentacles thrown on it. Or very, sorry, not human, very Terran shapes, like earth shapes. Like, that's part of the reason that I don't love spider Tyranids. I'm like, okay, yeah, you just took a spider and put some Tyranid stuff on it. Because I want them to be more alien and more kind of Tyranidy. So the Nautiloid has always interested me, but I feel like if I was going to do a Nautiloid, I'd have to find a way to make it more Tyranidy. Like, I don't want to just put like a Nautilus shell. Like, just literally go out and like 3D print a Nautilus shell, buy a resin cast of a Nautilus shell, put some tentacles coming out of it. I want to do something more than that. But that could be a good challenge. To take on like a cool version of the Nautiloid, because that was a cool Tyranid creature. Oh god, is this putty dying? Maybe I should mix some new stuff. Let's see. I just want to do a little bit. Yeah, the Nautiloid could be a good challenge. I just don't have high hopes because I see it as just kind of. Honestly, I see it as a lazy Tyranid. It's like, Tyranids, weird aliens. Let's just grab this creature from out of the ocean and let's put some Tyranid Gribble on it because we need to make a trading card for it. Or whatever, Warhammer Magic card, whatever those things were called. I don't know that I'm loving this. But let's see. Maybe. But it is the case that I think that bad Tyranids are good reasons to try to make new Tyranids. For example, Dimacron. Oh my god. If you're a Tyranid lover and you love the Dimacron, I am judging you because that creature is a god-awful mess. But it's good because we may have recorded an episode of our ill-fated podcast with Moloch and Hydra, and we may have challenged someone to make a better Dimacron. So whenever I get off my ass and actually edit that, if anyone's been trying to follow our podcast, it's because my brother used to do all the editing, but he has a kid, and apparently having a kid is hard. It takes a lot of time. So he doesn't have a lot of time for editing a podcast anymore. So I'm like kind of only man in town doing it now, which takes time. And especially when you're editing video, because I wanted to do like the whole, like, you've probably, I don't know, if you've hung around on this channel, you've probably seen the Hydra video that I made for the podcast. That takes a lot of time. So I'm actually in the thin, haven't been doing it lately. I'm supposed to be editing an episode of the podcast that was an interview with Moloch, which was really cool. Hi, Fleet Moloch. And I think people will like to see that because a lot of people have loved High Fleet Moloch stuff for a long time. But honestly, editing video takes time. And when I have limited time around my full-time job, and that time is the only time I have to do Warhammer, I can build models or I can edit video. So, I rather build models than edit video. But I will get to it. I promise I will get to it. I'm not going to tell you when we recorded it, May. But I will get to it, and I will edit it, I promise it. I just, because, like, I think Moloch has been an important part of the Tyranid community, and I'm really glad that he came back. And because he was kind of off the hobby wagon for a while, doing his own thing, doing his Star Wars thing. But now he's back. And a lot of people are very glad that he's back. And I think a good way to, that is not tool. A good way, what the hell, I thought I took it out. Where, okay, my tools are kind of spread all over in here. Damn it. Is it you? Oh, there you are. This buddy. So yeah, I'm really glad that Moloch is back, and a lot of people were happy to see him because they remember his Tyranids fondly. So I would love to get that interview out in video form. But we recorded that before we recorded the one where we challenged someone to fix the Dimacron. So that one will come after the Moloch video. So the Moloch video is already going to take some time, and the Dimacron one will come after that. But that's okay because we haven't even gotten the person Dimacron yet to do the challenge. So, goddamn, this putty's dying. That's the part I don't want to sculpt anyway. Great. Come on. really hope you can't hear the conversation going on in the other room, because it is interesting. Oh, I don't think this is going to work with this piece of putty. Don't fuck it up, Jones. Get this out of here. I have more putty in the freezer. I'm going to go get it, because this is a mess. That piece might survive. No, okay, we're going to get rid of it. Oh, look, it came right out like that. It's meant to be. Or meant to not be is more like it. Did I screw up the other side? No, that's good. If I sound surprised, it's because I am. Smooth it out a bit. I should probably... I'm going to put armor plates on here. But, I wonder if I should cut some of this stuff away. So the armor plates are going to come in here. Maybe it's okay? I don't know. Smooth this out. I don't know. Let's take it off. Hopefully I don't scrub the bottom part. Okay, that's that. Okay. This is not exciting. I'll go get some more putty. That's pretty clean. Except for where it's not. Oh, ugly. Maybe this one will help. This side, maybe clean some of that off. Stuck my finger in it. There you go. This is why you don't sculpt too much at once. Don't you die on me, light. Okay. Fix the barrel. Barrel's probably fine. Armor's gonna come in here. Let's get this out of here. There we go. Okay, more green stuff. Apoxie Sculpt. Do we have any comments? Nautiloid, yep, shell, rear limbs, a beast, evolved in pseudopod. What about Tyranid Cyborg, dark mechanics experiment creature? Oh, there's someone on Instagram that's done Tyranid Cyborgs. And they did a really, really good job of it. Does anyone remember who I'm talking about? They did a Tyranid kill team where it's basically they like captured like a Tyranid warrior and they like bolted armor plates onto it, and like the Tyranid warrior has like a broken siding talon and they've like bolted a piece of metal on for the talon. I can't remember for the life of me who did that, but I can remember it's very, very good. Yeah, there's someone who was posted on Warp Shadow recently who did a kind of gene sealers that escaped a it's not Leon's bread, is it? It's someone else. Gene sealers who escaped a kind of research station. They've got kind of like a Weapon X, if you follow Wolverine and Marvel Comics, vibe to them, where they got all like the plugs still in their bodies and stuff. They're really cool. Not quite cyborg material, but frig, who was it who did the Tyranid cyborgs? It was basically Tyranids that had been captured and like experimented on, but they were being used as a kill team by Imperials. And then like as they're like they took damage and their weapons were damaged and stuff like that, they replaced the bits with just like pieces of metal and stuff, bolted them on. And I love those Tyranids. God, I wish I could remember who did them. Because I feel like I haven't seen much from them lately. Like people on Instagram, they'll like do something like over and over again for like months, and then they'll like can totally switch trains and do, I don't know, Chaos Space Marines or something. And I don't recognize the hobbyist anymore necessarily, because I'm like, oh, are you the guy who was making those cool Tyranids? Did someone save me? Tell me someone saved me. Where were they green? They were green. Yes, yes, Bits Mechanica. They were green. Do you remember the ones I'm talking about? Dimacron is one of those things that could have been awesome. Giant Lictor could have been an amazing creature, but the actual model, oh dear. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with Giant Lictor being an amazing model. Lictors are supposed to be like stealthy, right? They're supposed to be like sneaking up on people. How do you giant sneak up on someone? The Primaris Marines tried that with their crazy ass Scout Dreadnought, which apparently has a silenced heavy bolter. How the hell does that work? And it's got some kind of like silent walking leg thing. I don't buy it. So yeah, Lictor, giant Lictor, I don't know. Lictor's supposed to sneak up. You want a giant thing, it's gotta be a Titan. It's gotta be for taking stuff out. I thought the Dimacron was supposed to be like a feeder beast, because like doesn't it have that whole like its chest opens up and it's a giant mouth? Okay, let's not try and save the concept for the Dimacron because that's someone else's job and it was just bad. But yeah, when that one came out, I didn't even like, I was like, what is this thing? Why did this come out? How did this get greenlit? Is this even a forgeable Tyranid? Because this looks like someone's recast. And, oh, what was it? Oh yeah, I got this like random collection of Tyranid bits from someone. They'd gotten it in like a hobby holiday exchange or something, and they're like, yeah, I don't really know what I'm going to do with these. Do you want them? I'm like, yeah, sure. And they sent me the bits, and in those were bits from a Dimacron, like the weird like chest tentacles it has that has like a barb on it, but it looks almost like a scorpion stinger tail. Again, not a Tyranid structure. There's no Tyranid that looks like that. So I got this thing and I saw it. I'm like, ooh, what are these like weird resin bits from like something that kind of looks like a Tyranid? They're really nasty. And I totally didn't even recognize that those were forgeable bits because it didn't look like a structure that you'd ever see on a Tyranid until I like actually took a look at the Dimacron. I did not at first because I thought it was hideous. But then when I took a closer look at it, I'm like, oh my god, those are those weird tendrils I have that look like someone trying to rip off a Tyranid. It was a Tyranid, an official Tyranid from Forge World, and it made me sad. Okay, I'll go get that party. Talk amongst yourselves. Oh my god, my butt is so sweaty on this chair. It is a mess. Thanks for trying, Jacob. Does remind me, Peter, you say, well, that does remind me of the bit of fluff with a rather cool line. Nothing that size should be able to move like that regarding a Lictor. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Because like a Lictor, back when I was fresh and new in Tyranids and I wanted to understand how big all these things were, a Lictor, I think, is supposed to be about 10 feet tall or something like that. Because a Space Marine's supposed to be 8 feet tall. But if you've been watching Between the Bolter and Me, you know that they're actually 7 feet tall. And then a Warrior is taller than a Space Marine. So I think a Warrior is about 10 feet tall. And I think a Lictor's like 10 feet tall. But if you put its Mantis Talon things in, it's a little taller. But yeah, think about something that's like 10 feet tall that like sneaks around like a predator. That would be scary. And I do like that line, Peter, that you quoted. Nothing that big should be able to move like that. I like that for a Lictor, but when you get to Dimacron size, like that's like 20, 30 feet tall, I don't care how fast it moves or how it moves. Nothing that big is going to be able to hide very well. Unless you're hiding in like a giant rubble field. This is sticky. Gotta wipe my hands. Definitely using gloves. Definitely. Do you play video games? Oh yeah, Peter, what have you been working on? Jacob just asked you, what are you working on right now? Because other people have answered this question, and I don't think we heard from you, and you sounds like you want to work on some Tyranid stuff. Someone asked about making spider Tyranids last time. Was that you, Peter? I can't remember. I didn't respond to that question in the last stream. We didn't get around to it. God, this is sticky and annoying. Oh my god, just get on the model. There we go. I've been hobby butterflying between various projects. Like what, Peter? What are the projects? Jacob, I play a few video games, but like my diatribe I just went on with about video editing, I have hobby time, and I have to use my hobby time to sculpt, or to build, or to paint, or to play video games. So when you don't see me post anything on Instagram for a while, I'm playing too many video games. For example, my buddy was like, "You should play Civ 6," because I have a Switch, so I'm playing yesterday's video games as they come out on Switch, which I'm fine with. But yeah, I started playing Civ 6 and it like ate me. Like to the point where I was like taking breaks from work to play Civ 6 because I'm working from home. Not a good scene. Not a good plan. Because that break always goes on longer than you think it should. So I enjoy playing video games. I'm awaiting Doom Eternal when it comes out on the Switch, certainly, because Doom 2016 changed my life. And Eternal looks good so far. But I try not to play too many video games because I don't have the time. Because it eats hobby time. But why were you asking? Were you going to reference a video game about, like, Dimacaron, Lictor, big giant thing moving really sneakily? Mr. Pan, Eternal Hug Butterflies, I understand. Recently got sucked into AOS. Goblins, I love those little hooligans. Yeah, the goblins are pretty cool, especially the new ones in AOS. The trolls are honestly wonderful models, really well designed, very smoothly sculpted, but super customizable. Peter, I've seen people do really good things with the trolls. As you can see from this giant Tyranid Gunbeast, of course I've played Breath of the Wild on Switch. Are you dumb? No, sorry, I shouldn't say that. Are you new? You can't own a Switch and not play Breath of the Wild. Like, that was the first game I played. That was the first game that, like, destroyed any hope of me ever doing model stuff ever before I beat the game. Breath of the Wild is a beauty. It is a damn fine game. And it makes me sad that I haven't been able to get my wife to play it. She gets overwhelmed by it. She didn't grow up with video games, so she doesn't have, like, video game logic in her head. You know, video game logic? It's like, oh, I'm in this area and there's something weird. When you have video game logic, you're like, okay, I can use that something weird. I can either use it now or I can use it later when I get some kind of item to activate the weird thing. If you don't have video game logic, you're like, huh, something weird. Okay, I'm going to keep walking. But you need to remember there was something weird so you can come back and use it later to progress the story. When you don't have video game logic, that gets really frustrating. So she does not have video game logic. So she gets frustrated by stuff like that. But then she played Link's Awakening. Is that what it's called? No. God, is it Link's Awakening? No. The one that released, where he's on the island. Is that Link's Awakening? Anyway, the one that came out on Game Boy. It came out on Switch, and I got it. And she saw me playing it, and she was like, well, that looks fun. And she started playing it. And then through Link's Awakening, and like the dungeons and stuff and that, like playing with her and kind of like helping her through it, we taught her video game logic. Also, she plays Chrono Trigger, which is probably one of the reasons I married her. So, yeah, she's got a little bit of video game logic from that. And I feel like now that if she went back to Breath of the Wild now with the Link's Awakening video game logic, I think she'd enjoy it a lot more. And she'd do a lot better. But Breath of the Wild can be overwhelming. Like, it's like, go wherever you want. Oh, here's a little marker on your map. You can go here. But try to get distracted by all the cool stuff that happens between here and there. So yes, I have played and loved Breath of the Wild. And I recommend it highly to anyone who has access to it. And apparently, like, everyone's got a Switch now. I was literally in a drugstore yesterday, picking up drugs. And this woman walks in, and she's like, do you guys sell Nintendo Switch? Like, this is a drugstore. And they're like, oh, yeah, we do. But I literally just sold 2 to this other girl, so I don't know if we have any more. I'm like, who walks into a drugstore at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday night and buys 2 Nintendo Switches? Like, I know that Animal Crossing is a hell of a drug, but I didn't know they were selling it over the counter now. So there was that, and then they go in the back and they check for the Nintendo Switches. They come out with 4 Nintendo Switches. They're like, yeah, we got these 4 Nintendo Switch lights. Like, which color do you want? She's like, oh, I'll take the pink one and the blue one. It's like, why are you buying 2 Nintendo Switches? So apparently that stuff is just flying off the shelves. That was neither here nor there. That's just a little bit of extra sauce for you that you didn't need while watching me try not to screw up this gun. God damn, It's too much, buddy. So it's going to be kind of a mess in here, but let's see if I can save it. Oh, I should probably check the comments. Where's my assistant when I need her? Okay. Okay, who? Jacob, was it you who told me which tools to use? Or was it David? Someone tell me which tool I'm supposed to use. Am I supposed to use the silicone shaper? I think I am. Okay, what have I missed? No. Wii U, Switch, blah, blah, Switch, blah, blah, blah. Trolls. We talked about trolls. Okay, so they're short-lived. Recently got stuck in AOS. Yeah, we talked about that. Okay, so there was a short-lived game where it was 1 versus 4 player PvP game where 1 player plays a monster and 4 players play human hunters, and there's a giant stealth monster that's actually pretty believable. What is that game called, Jacob? This weird stealth game. You know what game I played recently? Carrion. That's amazing. Where you play as an alien and you like invade, you like break out of the scientific facility and you just have to murder all the humans. That was freaking cool. Switch. You play Breath of the Wild? Yeah, okay, good. I know people that haven't. Yeah, people who haven't played Breath of the Wild on Switch, it is tragic. Adam Weir owns a Switch and has not played Breath of the Wild. Adam, you cannot work on any more models till you played Breath of the Wild. It's amazing. Earthman Brick has a Wii U and a Switch. Still don't own Breath of the Wild. Too expensive. Yeah, it is the case that Nintendo games never go on sale. Earthman Brick, I'd say buy it on the Switch, not the Wii U. I know you can get it on both, but it's just like probably a little bit better on Switch. But if you have the time, like if you're going on a trip or something and you know you're gonna have the time to play, you should totally get Breath of the Wild. It's worth it, even though it's expensive. Like I would tell you that Breath of the Wild is the only game that I bought for my Switch that is worth the whatever $80 Canadian they charge for it. Completely worth it, no question. Mario Kart, not so much. Smash Brothers, not even that. Breath of the Wild, go out and buy it. Go out and buy it today. It'll be worth it. Although I guess you have to like adventure and Zelda. But if you like Zelda, and you like that kind of stuff, it's so good. And there's so much content in there that I would say it's worth that much. But maybe it'll go on sale. Maybe if you put it on your watch list, it'll go on sale and they'll like shove in the DLC or something. Some people can't wrap their head around the camera controls. Yeah, I get that. Wind Waker is also good. Bits Mechanica, I really like Wind Waker, the old Zelda game. So Peter says, in terms of Tyranids, though, I've been rescuing a Turvagon that's 15 years old and we painted very badly, stripping it down and making it into an acid spray Tyrannifex. I like that. That sounds fun. Except I use the acid spray parts on something else, so I'm giving it a torso undersling bioweapon. Peter, torso undersling bioweapons are the way to go. Tyranids are holding guns in their arms. Like, look at this guy. Built into his torso. Tyranids who are holding guns in their arms don't know what they're doing. Switches are massively out of stock. Can't meet demand. Well, apparently, Jacob, you just need to come to Canada and go to Shoppers Drug Mart because they got all the Switches you need. So they're reselling them for massive upticks on cost. So these assholes are buying 2 Switches from this place and selling them on eBay or something. That... No, these people did not have siblings. These were like rich people in Audis who had these Switches. Maybe I should go buy some Switches before we leave this town. Sell them on eBay. Evolve the game. I don't know. Evolve. It's multiplayer only, and you can't really get it anymore. Okay, I don't know that one. Putting finishing touches on a hive tyrant with dragonfly wings, purloined from a broken garden ornament. That's pretty cool. Back in the day, dragonfly wings on a tyrant. The guy who started Warp Shadow, Michael Cassavant, he made a. He had a wife, His wife, I believe, was entomologist, like some kind of insect scientist, and I'm pretty sure his wife like somehow got him real dragon wings and he like preserved them or like encased them in resin or something, and then he put them on his tyrant and he had legit dragonfly wings on his hive tyrant. This was way back, like this was like a 3rd edition metal hive tyrant, the one that looked like the alien queen. So that was a long time ago, but it was cool. It stuck in my mind. So your talk of having dragonfly wings on a tyrant, I like that. That is a good way to do wings on a tyrant. Okay, this is a mess. I'm trying to blend it into putty that's mostly started curing already, which is never great. Preserve that kind of diamond shape, sort of, kind of, maybe. You don't ever want like this stuff to be flush with this stuff. There needs to be like a clear, oh, you're not even on frame. That's good. You never want this stuff and this stuff to be flush. You need to have like a clear window or like line between them. I can still hear you. I don't know if they can hear you, but I can hear you. So if you're talking shit about me, maybe keep it down. Okay. Oh God, I'm not on the frame. Maybe I need to adjust this. Maybe I'm working out of... Maybe I should just leave this. Maybe I should just be like, this is good enough. Maybe I should stop obsessing. Because I just want to be done. Oh, they're playing the Wikipedia game in the other room. I destroyed it the other day. The hell were they looking up? Oh, they were like... What was it? They're like, we need to connect. If you've not played the Wikipedia game, it's like they give you like 2 things and you have to find the Wikipedia articles that link them. And I think it was like they needed to link Idris Elba and pangolins. Like Idris Elba, like the super hot actor, also very talented but very attractive. And pangolins because they're really weird creatures. And I was like, oh, I can do this in 2 connections through Wikipedia. And they're like, bullshit, you can do that in 2 connections. I'm like, I can get from Idris Elba to pangolins in 2 connections. Because they were like killing themselves. Does anyone know how to get from Idris Elba to pangolins in 2 connections? On this weird Wikipedia game? I'll give you the chance. In case anyone else plays this weird game. Oh my god, there's so much stuff. Okay, yeah, we did the thing. Hollow Knight. Oh, God, Jacob, I tried Hollow Knight. I have it. I get lost in Metroidvania games that are too complicated and like they don't look different enough. And I feel like Hollow Knight, everything looks the same. And there's that, the first, like one of the first bosses you fight is like this big beetle who's like a guard, and he kills me every time. I can't do it. I'll get it on Switch. Thanks for the recommendation. But yeah, if you can play Carrion on whatever you're playing, if you like weird Tyranids and aliens and the Alien films, you should play that because you're a mass of tentacles and you just murder people and eat them and then try and escape from this facility, which is cool. Yeah, but Earthman Brick, I hope you enjoy Breath of the Wild. It's really, really good. I'll send you concept art from it later. Yeah, Jacob, please send me the concept art. That's right. Entomologist. Oh, I remember that. Wait, Peter, did you just say that you remember Phage putting dragonfly wings on a tyrant? Because you would be around for a long time if you remember that. But I don't know what people are referring to anymore. I don't know what a pangolin even is. A pangolin is basically a really cute Tyranid relative. Yeah, so pangolins, if you look them up, it's Peter Hampson spelled it right. It's Pangolin. They're basically like armadillos, but they're like long and skinny. I played Hollow Knight enough that I can kill the first boss hitless in 20 minutes. I don't know what that's about. So, pangolins, if anyone follows Koska Made on Instagram, and if you don't, you should. He does Tyranid stuff. He's got a buddy who researches pangolins. And right when all this COVID stuff was kicking off, there was this whole theory that like COVID-19 developed in pangolins, which are these weird creatures. And I remembered this, and I remember David telling me this, that his buddy suddenly got really, really busy because he was researching this really obscure creature, and all of a sudden everyone's like, did COVID-19 come from pangolins? Look into it. And I knew that Idris Elba was diagnosed with COVID-19. So there you go. There's your Wikipedia connection. You go Idris Elba to COVID-19, COVID-19 to pangolins. In the archive page. That's cool. Hutch, I do not know that pangolins carry bubonic plague, but that's terrifying if they do. That is really freaking scary. Like, I know rats carry bubonic plague. Isn't that how it works? But pangolins carrying it, that would be scary. Maybe that's why they thought they had COVID. Maybe they were racially profiling the pangolins, being like, you guys carry bubonic plague. Did you also carry COVID? As bad as this COVID stuff is, I'm really glad it's not the bubonic plague. From my understanding, that thing's way worse. Okay, this is the part where I stop obsessing. Done! Okay, what do I want to do next? I definitely don't want to fill that in. I think that's fine. This side is okay. Armor plates? Maybe? Let's readjust. Bubonic plague is easy to treat and cure with modern medicine. Okay, that's good to know. Don't have to worry about it. Thanks for saving me from that, Jacob. Oh my god. Pangolins go through concrete to get ants and termites? That definitely counts as rending claws. That's insane. Etymology is amazing, especially the hive networks of ants. The military, sociologists, biologists, mechanical engineers, and architects have made incredible strides in their field of study via ants. Really? That's really cool. I like stuff that we learn from insects. It's badass. Okay, so I gotta put vents here, and I gotta put vents here. I could do that now. Or I could put armor plates across the top there. I don't know that I have time to sculpt armor plates, because I want to sculpt them all in one go, and that's finicky work. And this putty has already been setting for a while, so maybe I should put some vents in here. And I can show you how to sculpt the gills. And if I have time left, I'll like clean up the barrel ends. And hopefully I don't put my fingers in this, because that would be bad. It's a little weird because I got this connective tissue here, so I can't go very far with the vents. That's probably more putty than I need. But I'll show you guys how to do the gill stuff. It's very easy. All right, so I'm getting a rough kind of teardrop shape. This is, again, way too much putty. I don't want to get too far in here because, like, this connective tissue, I'm going to have to put this kind of tissue over the end of the vascular vent gill thing anyway. So I want to extend it up here towards the barrel end. This is kind of weird. This is a weird cannon because normally the sides of the barrel would be vertical, and then it's got the armor plates on top, but I'm doing like a segmented thing. If I was lazy, I could just like put vents on here, put vents on here. It's all vents. But I kind of want it to look like that it was one thing that kind of sectioned this way, that kind of like opened. So the armor plates are here, but then they like broke down and they're here too. And this cannon kind of like came up out of the other ones. So that's why I'm putting the vents down on this side, which would normally be vertical, but it's kind of slotting under. I think it'll look fine. I like messing with Tyranid guns, making them look more interesting. I feel like a lot of the guns that we get now are not that exciting. One really stupid thing I thought as Peter, when I first saw the Heridual from Forge World, was that they buried themselves What? They buried themselves to form capillary towers because their tails kind of looked like the Forge World towers. Oh, yeah, the Scythe Hairduel. Those tails definitely look like capillary towers. I didn't know what you meant by burying themselves, but I got one right here. Yeah, they just like put a capillary tower on the end of a hairduel. Ba-doom! It is kind of dumb. I totally agree. The hairduel is not a great model. I mean, it's okay to like convert into something like a dominatrix, but I always thought it looked like an angry chicken. I'm not a fan. Like it looks kind of like it's pretty good in that it looks like big and tough, but it also looks awkward. And I'm not scared of it. But I do, one thing I do like about the hairduel is that back in the day, in the day of, man, every time I say back in the day, take a shot. So back in the day, when Epic was around, and they had Epic Tyranid monstrosities, the hairduel and the Hierophant were the same, basically. They were both spidery Tyranids that walked around on their reciting talons. And there wasn't that much of a difference between the model kits. I think it was just weapons, but they're both the same size. They're both very, very large, like much, much larger than a dominatrix. So, does that mean you're taking off Blitz Mechanica? If so, bye. So yeah, back in the day, take a shot. They they had these big Spider Walker Hairduel and Hierophant. They were the same. So what I liked when they came out with the Hairduel is that it was different. Like it looked different from the Hierophant, and it was smaller, which I found good because the Hierophant is huge, and like we need like a Scout Titan size thing for Tyranids. So that's the niche that the I don't know. I think this is too bulbous. Is it okay? Maybe it's fine. I'll just kind of like make it more of, instead of just like a big bulb, I'll make it like kind of skinnier at the front and then get thicker at the back. Like it's a tube going in there. Kind of biological tube. Yeah, so the Harrow Duel was, I did like that it was different, that it was like a new design. They didn't just take the Epic version and just kind of make another Spider Walker, like a smaller Spider Walker than the Hierophant. That part was good. But the model itself, it just looks like an angry chicken. It's got a big butt. It's got its tail sticking up in the air. The mouth is pretty cool. The body's okay. That's why I preserved it on the Dominatrix. Scout Titan always felt like a misnomer to me. Yeah, Jacob, that's what the Dimacron is. Scout Titan. It's sneaky. It's quiet. It's totally going to scout it out. I do like the Scout Titan because it gives me the feeling of like a smaller Titan. Like it's not necessarily going to effectively scout anything, but it is smaller. Hierophant is a model I will probably never buy because without cutting up and reinforcing the legs or giving it an impractically large base, it will literally sag under its own weight. Yes, Peter, I've seen people with Hierophants, they put big brass rods in the legs to reinforce them. I will never buy a Hierophant because it's a knife walker, and I don't like knife walkers. Tyranids that walk on their sighting talons, because say nothing about sagging under its own weight. Think about all that weight applied to a skinny little point. That's going to sink so far into the earth, it's not going to be useful. Okay, so I've got this kind of teardrop shape. I'm going to turn into the this vascular tissue. Next stage, super easy. Take a knife tool, get it lubed up. It puts the lotion on its tools, or it gets the hose. And then you decide, like, see here, these sections are bigger, and then they get smaller at the end, and smaller at the end. So I should start small here. Just do this. And then as you go, get gradually bigger. I'm not getting that much bigger. Okay, so that's just to mark it out. And then what you want to do is you want to clean up the two ends, because now it's just lines down a thing. But you got to kind of extend them above and below. So make sure you don't shove your hand in the thing you just sculpted. And come in and follow. You know what? I'm getting old. I need a magnifying glass. This is getting problematic. I'm not the young gaunt I used to be. I'm getting closer to the age of old one-eye. And now we're getting into the territory where it's hard to sculpt here because this thing's in the way. Goddamn. Oh, almost screwed up my own thing. I guess I can do it here. This is the smarter way to do it. And then the bottom part, the point. So we're just extending these all the way down. Oh shit, I screwed that one up. Light cheating right there. There we go. And then what you can do if you want bonus points, hold on, gotta extend these a bit more. Yeah, you can still see that. I don't know if it's in focus, but you can see it. And then I don't know if it really helps anything, but what I do is this part is not going to be visible. You're going to cover that with this exterior tissue, but I go, this is kind of like the midpoint, midline around here, and this is the end line. I kind of go in about there, and I poke, and what this does is it gives more of a curve to the vascular part, makes it a little more interesting. Don't know if it actually adds anything, and it is very much the case that I might cover this with subsequent putty, but oh, that's the point of this is very large. I don't know that it does anything, but makes the structure slightly more interesting. Let's do this. Do it on the bottom as well. This is probably fine. Still streaming. No, it's fine. So you don't have to yell at me. It's probably okay. Actually, I had a concept for a Biotitan that doesn't walk on pointy stilts. Lower body would be quite Godzilla-y with very thick legs and a powerful tail. Peter, that's a really cool concept. Did you draw it? Did you like sketch it up? So that's probably fine. I'm going to move on to the other side. See how I kind of like poked it in. Let's try the other side and hope I don't shove my finger in it. Yeah, I want to see it, Peter. You should draw it. This concept for a Biotitan. Always good to have more concepts for a Biotitan. You know who did some really cool concepts for Biotitans? Bits of Box back in the day. He did some sketches for some cool Biotitans, as did Warren Beatty, Vermis, who has just shown up on Instagram. You should definitely follow him. God, his Instagram handle is VYRM. Oh no, wait, maybe it's just VYRMS, or is it just VRMS? 1, 2, 3. I followed him recently. I posted him in my stories recently. He is the guy who drew this. Do you remember this little number? This is Warren Beatty. He drew this stuff. He's very talented. He's got 2 pictures of some elves sculpted, and then he's added some stuff too by sculpting, and he's got 1 picture of a gene stealer that he drew, kind of concept art. So look him up. If anyone's on Instagram right now, can you go and check that for me? I think it's VRMS. There might be VYRMS 123. He's got his profile picture is a profile picture of a black and white picture of a gene stealer head, drawn. So yeah, if anyone can check that, because I'd like to plug him here, because he was someone who drew a lot of cool concepts for Titans, like the one I just showed, BioTitans. Also, if you want to see more of his art, go to modernsynthesis.com, my website. Oh, I'm almost running out of cream. Go to modernsynthesis.com and search, or just go to Google and search the art of Warren Beatty. So WARREN BEATTIE, I think. And that'll come up on my site with his sketches, and you can see some of his Biotitan concepts there. And then if you want to see bits of boxes stuff, I don't know what I called it, but I do have sketches of his stuff on my site too, I think. And I think it's Art of Tom Box. So if you search Modern Synthesis Art of Tom Box, Modern Synthesis Art of Warren Beatty, you can see their stuff. But they've got some very good sketches, concept sketches for Biotitans. Bits of Box he hasn't posted any of them lately, but he's working on a Dactylus. Why do they look weird? Oh, maybe these are not equal. Wouldn't that be a pain in the ass? Oh, whatever. Yeah, but you should definitely follow Bits of Box because he's really, really, really talented. And it's Bits of Box, Bits of BOCKS. But if you're looking him up on my website, it's Art of Tom Box, BOX. I think that's what I called it. I'm not able to look it up right now on this phone because I will kill the stream. Did anyone look up Vermis? Anyone find him? Oh, there we go. Oh, it's Vimis? Is it really? Bits Mechanica? So I got it wrong. It's Vimis. It's VYMIS123, apparently. I thought there was an R in there. So maybe it's VYMIS123. No R. I was mistaken. He used to be Vermis on Warp Shadow. Back in the day, take a shot. I feel like there's too much putty here. Oh well, make a mistake. It'll be fun. Oh, did you spell it wrong, Bits Mechanica? Can you give me the right spelling of it? Since you're there. Because I have no idea how it's spelled. So is there an R in there? Can you hook me up? Show me the real spelling, please. So you can see I'm doing that kind of like concave thing where it's like a teardrop. I put the link, you spelled in it correctly. Okay, Evan, hey buddy. VYRMIS123, as I thought. VYRMIS123. Head over to Instagram, follow Warren. He's very talented, and I will keep on encouraging him to make new things. I keep telling him he needs to draw a new version of the Dominatrix because that sketch is a little old. So looking forward to that. So yeah, teardrop this way, just because I'm not gonna be able to get the full like diamond shape because it just kind of ends here, and then concave this way. Convex, sorry, convex. Adam would yell at me for that. Let's see if I can get you a good angle on that. You can kind of, oh, you suck phone, come on. You can kind of see that it's like a bulge. It bulges out, and that just makes it easier to do this kind of vent structure around it. So you don't want to make it just flat. Evan, it's going good. Evan, do we know each other on Instagram or do we just know each other on YouTube? This does a weird thing where it shows all your real names and not your fake internet names, so I don't really know who anyone is. It's going good. We're just sculpting on this Gunbeast. This is a Games Workshop Tyranid effects kit. You wouldn't know it because I got a ChinaCast one by accident, and that was stupid. So I'm making something cool out of it. Okay, that's probably fine. I should just do the thing now. Okay, so starting small at the... Oh, I don't love that angle. Low battery, uh-oh. I gotta plug this in and hope it doesn't overheat. Evan Warped on Instagram. Pretty sure I found you through there. That's cool. There we go. Learning how to sculpt. Well, you came to the right place. This may die on me now because it's probably going to start telling me my phone's getting hot because I'm charging it, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't die too soon. But we're almost done. Yeah, so Evan, thanks for joining the stream. We're getting kind of towards the end now. So I've just been sculpting like Tyranid guns. And I'm probably going to call it soon. But right now what I'm working on is the vascular structures, gills that go inside the Tyranid gun. So you can see here I just did this one. Boop, 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 boop. And then I'm going to come back later and add the tissue around it like I've done up here. So right now I'm just doing the underwork for that. And another way to make this kind of bulging shape is to use a flat silicone shaper and to do flat on top, flat on the bottom, and you can round it out. But the angle of this wasn't working with the angle of this for me. It felt like it was going down and not back. So I'm just futzing. Why low battery? You should be charging. You are plugged in. Are you too good to charge? Oh, you're getting warm. Okay, well, this thing might die. So if this dies, I'm sorry. And we'll do another stream next. We'll do it on Wednesday, like we normally do. So thank you all for joining. I'm sorry if it drops off again. But this has been good. And it seems like there's a lot of people here. So thank you. Honestly, thank you all for joining this. I'm doing this away from home right now, and I didn't know if anyone was going to show up, so it was good to see people show up. The phone did bleep earlier, as in my phone or your phone? That's interesting. It bleeped and you heard it? Because I did not hear it. So, it may die. I'm sorry if it dies. Oh, what was that about Alpha Legion? I'm trying to get my sculpting skills up enough to convert up an entire Alpha Legion. I am all about Alpha Legion. They're one of the coolest. They're the only cool Space Marines. I mean, like, black dragons are cool too, and like Kacharons or whatever, the shark ones, they're cool. And maybe those Minotaur guys, but other than that, Space Marines are lame. So you picked a good one. I guess Night Lords are kind of cool, but if you do them like funky, not like the goofy, old school way with like lightning bolts and shit. But the bat wings can stay. They're kind of cool. Your phone vibrated, but you were away getting putty from the freezer. Okay, that's weird. I don't know if I'm getting notifications or something. Thanks for keeping on that for me, Earthman Brick. You want a job as an assistant? I need someone to read my messages for me. Apparently my wife will not do it. Don't obsess. Just cut it. So small at this end. And as you move down, make them a little thicker. Yes, I know it's low battery phone. Thank you. You're plugged in. You're supposed to be charging. Get on that. This may die soon. I've warned you. So yeah, you start like small here and then they get fatter as you go. And yeah, so you do one line and then you go and you clean up the top and the bottom. So kind of extend them up top. Make it more 3D, make it more curved. Because you don't want just like a flat line. You want these things to be bulging out as if they're some kind of like vascular structure. So you want to curve around them. Kind of like rings, like if you were able to see the whole structure, it'd be like a ring that went all the way around, but you only see this part. So it's a suggestion of those vascular rings, vascular vents, whatever they are. So I'm just curving it all the way around. Not all of this will be seen because it'll be encased in the other tissue that I add later, but I just want to do as much as I can so that I don't wind up having a bit showing where the vascular tissue just stops. Okay, I'm going to call the stream soon. I'm warning you now. It's going to end. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been good. Okay, and then I'll do my little weird touch that I don't know really does anything. Go halfway between the peak and the end and just kind of like dig in. Really need to revisit that artillery beast concept someday. I called it the Tesla Crine. Cool. It was going to be an anti-air beast with a bioelectric weapon. Might need to nab an exocrine and get chopping. You should definitely do it, Peter. Exocrine is pretty good at chopping up for an artillery beast. I have done it myself. Okay, so just poking it at the top here to give it like the suggestion of, I don't know, curving in underneath. I'm sorry that these comments don't show up when you see the video after the stream, but I'm going to fix that, I think. When I get OBS, I think it'll fix everything. No Star Wars chat this time. Oh, fuck, Star Wars, go away. Ooh, that sounds cool. Amazing work, Evan Warped. Oh, because you looked him up on Instagram? I'm going to have to go look up Evan Warped on Instagram. Make sure I'm following him. And I'm going to do the same weird thing in the bottom. Where's the camera? There's the camera. God, I need a magnifying glass. God, I'm getting old. No Star Wars chat. I'm so done with Star Wars. Enough. I was a big lover of Star Wars as a kid. And I think the new movies are just fine. I don't get into the drama. I love Rose. She's amazing. If you don't like Rose, you can screw off. If you don't like Rose, you will not be missed. Don't ever say the words Mary Sue in my presence. I don't want to hear it. Rey was good times. I really liked her. She was badass. Hell damn ass queen. Here I am. Don't talk about Star Wars. Hey, guess who's talking about Star Wars? You are. Dumb. Good work, moron. Talking to myself. I don't know if I'm ruining what I just did. God, this is finicky. God, this is small. Why am I so old? I don't think this is as nice as the other side, but I'm just going to call it. Much prouder with that side. Oh, wait, that's a bit messy. Don't do this. You're going to ruin what you just did, and it's not going to be as good. Oh, I'm getting way too close to the camera there. Did it even focus? Oh my God, there's no focus. Why do you suck, phone? That's probably fine. Just give up. Oh, thanks, Peter. I'm glad it's been an awesome stream. I thought it was a bit of a mess, but glad it worked. Aw, that's really sweet of you to say, Peter. Thank you. Not tell you how cool it is. Good to talk to you. Yeah, it's really good to have you here, Peter. And I'm glad you stuck around. And I'm glad that I'm actually making like productive content now versus posting random pictures of Tyranid before. Evan, we don't talk about Star Wars. It's like you don't talk about politics, you don't talk about religion, you don't talk about Star Wars. Yeah, Peter, I'm so glad you're here. And keep making cool Tyranids, man. That's what it's about. My phone is telling me I have a low battery. It is a liar and a cheat. I feel like every stream I find something random to just keep talking about. This time it's low phone battery. Last time it was raccoon shit. Was that last time? I can't remember. Now this is the part where I screw everything up. Which tool am I going to use to do it? And let's screw everything up with this tool. It sounds really windy outside. Be a good time for a night walk. Is that any better? Did it make a difference? Just call it. I don't want to call it. I want to fix it. Don't fix it, just call it. Yeah, Peter, I'll be here next Wednesday. You want to pop in again? It goes the same for all of y'all. We'll do another stream next Wednesday, and I'll try and get that OBS thing working. How do you deal with the shrinkage from Greenstuff? Evan, there is no shrinkage from Greenstuff. I have never once in my life had a problem with shrinkage from Greenstuff. If your green stuff is shrinking, you're probably just keeping it too cold. See what I did there? It's a dick joke. That's what Hutch is here for, the dick jokes. Was it Hutch? No, I think it was Symbio Joe. I can't remember. I've never had a problem with green stuff shrinking. Does that happen? Is that a thing that happens? I've sculpted a lot of green stuff and I've never had that problem. So I don't really know what to say about that. Like, can you explain your problems with green stuff shrinking? Because I literally have never dealt with it. Sounds like something that someone talks about, but doesn't actually happen. Oh, I don't use green stuff. Oh, is that on the frame? Yeah, it is. I don't use green stuff because it shrinks. It's like, dude, that doesn't happen. I've been phenomenally lucky not to have shrinkage. Sharp edges can round off in cutting sometimes. Oh, curing with green stuff? Okay, yeah, that is something that green stuff does. It's rubberized. If you want to get sharp edges when you're sculpting, use, I'm going to hate myself for saying this, Milliput, yellow gray. Use that because that'll get you sharp edges when sculpting, or use Apoxie Sculpt can get you sharp edges, but you got to wait about an hour for it to cure before you try and sculpt a sharp edge. Epoxy clay can do, like, that's a pretty sharp edge, but probably if I'd waited until it was like almost uncuring, it would be even sharper. The best way to get sharp edge is to use a hard putty and then cut it or file it. That's what I'd recommend. You can get a pretty sharp edge by sculpting, but it's annoying and much easier to just come in at the end and sharpen it up. Filling gaps. I make it as smooth on surfaces each side as possible. The next day it's concave where the gap is. Okay, so Evan, you're talking about gap filling. I see what you mean. And that is, you're right, that is something that happens with green stuff. You need to get Apoxie Sculpt, because Apoxie Sculpt does not do that. It will not shrink in on you. It's very good for gap filling. So try that. If you're in the US, you can get Apoxie Sculpt very easily. If you're in Europe, it's a little harder. But it does happen. If you're not in the US, or Canada, actually, you can get Apoxie Sculpt easily in Canada. I get mine from Sculpture. I always get this wrong. Is it Canadian Sculpture Supply or is it Sculpture Supply Canada? I think it's Sculpture Supply Canada. They sell Apoxie Sculpt, and I think they ship from Toronto, but they ship everywhere. And yeah, Apoxie Sculpt is very good for gap filling, and I don't think it shrinks in the same way that green stuff does. That would be annoying for gap filling. So you are right. Green stuff does shrink, but it's only really perceptible when you are doing something like gap filling. And I usually don't have the patience for gap filling, so I just kind of like clean them as clean as I can with a flash scraper / knife and hope for the best. But yeah, Epoxy Sculpt is very good for gap filling when I do bother. It's a bit ugly. This is purely because I have more putty. And I need to do this eventually anyway. I was supposed to call this. This is going to be the part where I shove my finger in something that I'm really happy with. Because that's what happens when you keep sculpting after you should stop. I'm sorry David didn't join us today, but I'm glad that he's probably sleeping because he has children. And he lives in the UK. And this is really friggin' late if you're in the UK. I don't even know why Gecko's here. Kyle. Painting his Space Marines. Maybe he went to bed by now. Because it is really friggin' late in the UK. I need a ball burnisher is what I need. Ta-dum! And with that I can go in here and get the ribbing that I want. Ribbed for my pleasure. Yes, I'm aware I have low battery. Thank you, phone. It's 3 a.m. in the UK just now. Earthman Brick, go to bed. Or are you checking the clock? Brave New World this week, the really great sci-fi show. I've not... Is Brave New World based on the book Earthman Brick? I should look that up. Highly recommend. It's by Grant Morrison, who did The Invisibles and Happy. I keep hearing about this Happy thing, but I've never watched it. Gotcha. It's already on the Amazon. Just need to make an order. Oh, that's Ava's Epoxy Sculpt. Okay, cool. Hey, wifey's working a night shift, so I'm providing half a sleep moral support. Oh, that's very kind of you to provide half-asleep moral support to your wifey. That's a good reason to stay up watching sculpting videos. Hope you're not spending too much time watching sculpting videos and you are actually providing moral support. Because if I was working a night shift, I would need it. But that's a good reason to stay up. Stupid sculpting videos, not a good reason. This stuff's going to be on YouTube tomorrow. I mean, I appreciate you being here, but if you need to sleep, you go sleep. And you can catch up tomorrow. I promise I will do a sculpting video on, or a stream on the weekend soon, so that people who are in time zones that this is not convenient for can catch it live. So if you're watching this not live, keep an eye out for that. And I promise that I will give warning about it. I didn't give very much warning about this one because I wasn't sure if I was able to do it from where I am now. Hence the shift from Wednesday to Thursday, but I'm glad you could all make it on such short notice. Ooh, this is ugly. That's decent. It's passable. I honestly think I sculpt better on stream because I feel like I need to perform for you people. That dominatrix stuff came out really well. Very happy with it. So obviously I'm not going to do this rib structure all the way down the barrel.